and welcome. I am Catherine Brunch, owner of Canine Support, and today for our 50 years of Tellington TTouch celebration, we are joined by the fabulous Tina Constance. She is one of four of our UK instructors for companion animals, but also our only UK instructor for TTouch for equines, which is super exciting. Welcome, Tina. Thank you for coming along.
Well, glad to be here.
Yeah,
Fun.
absolutely. And so today, Tina, we're going to talk about observations and how important they are as part of what we do with T-Touch. So, kind of, what's your take? Why are observations so important for us?
I love observations, and
Mhm.
I think that they are so key to everything that we do. And observing what's going on with our animals and allowing moments for them to give us feedback about what's happening is something that's continual all the time when we're either working with them or just being with them. And I think with our observations, having a baseline for our animal is a really important thing to do. What's their normal? Because their normal is going to be very different to another dog or cat, whoever you're working with. And when we can get sort of a baseline for them, we can notice small changes and things that are different for them that day. And that can have a huge impact then onto how they may be on their walk or in their training session or, whatever else is going on for them that day.
Absolutely. And yeah, and it's just, not just observations on behavior as well, but I think the physical observations, just because at the weekend I was actually doing some T-touch on Remy, and rather than like stroking down her side, I was doing the circular touches, and I noticed, I was like, oh, there's a lump. Ever so tiny lump, but that's an observation as well, and really important. I might not have felt it if I'd just been stroking her like normal. I think it was that curve up that I went, oh, caught under the hair, and actually felt something. So it's not just about observing how they might be feeling, but also how they are physically as well, isn't it? Super important.
Yeah, and observations take in like the whole dog. And, we can, when we're looking at them, is what we're seeing, is that normal for them? Is that
Mm,
something that they usually do?
yeah,
Because it could be something that's completely different to how they are, or actually, this is becoming quite a routine thing or habitual way that they're responding to something. And, we're looking at the set of their eyes, their ears, their tail. Are they holding tension in certain parts of their body? What does their overall posture look like? Do they look like they have freedom of movement? Or when they go into movement, are they maybe finding it more challenging to turn from one side to the other? Are they placing their feet evenly on the ground? Can they move? Are they struggling to go forward? Can they
yeah,
stop? That's also really
yeah.
important. What's the speed of movement? Because that can give you lots of information to how they actually are in that moment. Because we
Yeah.
can never truly know how another being is actually feeling. But what we can do is start to look at these ways that they physically organize themselves and how it's presenting in the body and take information from that. And also looking at looking at the coat. Is the coat nice and even? Have they got shine coming through it? Is it a, let's say, normal coat pattern for the breed that they are? Or
Yeah.
sometimes we might see that the coat's slightly changed direction in some places, or it might be a bit drier or greasier, or look like they've got dandruff,
Yeah.
because all these things can be because there may be tension in that area where, it's not able to just relax or have that sort of luster come through. It could also be they've just got soaking wet or they've been led down, so it is all in context.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes Remy gets up in the morning and she's got like, bed head, and there's like this swirl of hair, and I'm like, what's happened there? No, no, it's just the way you were asleep. That's okay then. Lying in your own dribble and made your own hairdo going on there, isn't it?
And I think, some mornings we can maybe look in the mirror and go, who's that? Yeah, that's serious bedhead going on there. So yeah, it
Absolutely.
is it is all in context, I
Yeah.
think. And I think one of the hardest things to do is to observe without judgment, because
Mm,
as people, we're really, really judgy about everything.
yeah.
And it is something that takes practice to notice things and just notice it without making a judgment about it or attaching a label to it. And by just noticing something, we also then have the ability to notice if something changes. And I think that's the really key part to this.
Yeah, just taking it as information, isn't it? And sometimes we just need to monitor, what happens over a few days, a few weeks, whatever. If we do have concerns, then obviously it is important to go and seek veterinary advice. Absolutely. But in that moment, we might just be a little curious and go, that's interesting. And let's just see what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many sort of influencing factors that can cause tension to be held in the body or things to start to change, whether it's um, health issues, age-related things,
Yeah.
gut problems is like a huge thing that it's great that it's being so recognized at the moment.
Yeah.
And, or it could be that lack of sleep, or, there's been fireworks, or there's been thunderstorms, or you've had people visiting. There's so many things that can make a change in our animals.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tina, you've got some photos for us to have a look at, isn't it? In relation, we've talked about coat patterns and stuff like that. But you've got some photos to share with us so we can actually kind of have a bit of a closer look.
I have just picked a few, and I like to say, with the observations of really seeing what you're looking at, because we
Yeah.
look at our animals all the time. And when we're used to being around them, it's sometimes difficult to notice if there's any changes. So it is really like just taking a step back and looking through new eyes and seeing the dog in the moment.
Yeah,
And and also we're so lucky nowadays that we've got, oh, I don't know, at least 2 million photos of our dogs on our phones. So
absolutely.
so we can always, check back.
Yeah.
Was that there before? So yeah, so I've just got a variety of different things. And with this lovely Great Dane here on the left-hand side, you can see that there's a huge swirl down the back of her neck.
Mm,
And she was quite concerned about being touched around the head and the neck. And this apparently wasn't present when she was a puppy. So this
right.
is something that developed as she got older. But also, if you look at her neck, there's no definition to her neck. It's just solid.
Mm,
And then looking further up in the head, we can see that the muscling at the top of the neck going into the head is quite uneven, as are the set of the ears. So this is, if we're noticing things like this, it's probably not a place we're going to start touching them.
no.
To touch them somewhere where they are comfortable, and then you can see if anything can be changed there. But yeah, she was just solid the whole way through that area.
Yes. And it is about starting where we know that they're comfortable. Like this shoulder area is kind of like a good spot to start, and build trust in touch in those areas, and then just kind of drip feed a little bit of information into the areas that perhaps really need the T-touch, like you said with the neck area to release some of that tension. But it is just drip feeding that information in, maybe one touch on the neck and then move back to the shoulder, isn't it? It's and pausing obviously is another biggie.
100%. And that's again using your observations. And if you start with the back of the hand, it can be less invasive,
Mm,
easier for them to accept. And it's just that making contact, or can you make contact? Because that's huge. That's a
yeah.
massive observation.
Yeah.
And just making that initial contact and pausing, what's their feedback? What are you observing in that moment? Do they move away from you? Do they want to re-engage?
Mm,
Are they shifting themselves around to somewhere that may be more comfortable for them? So all this is really good information for you.
yeah, absolutely.
And
Amazing.
I think lots of times, we're always in such a hurry to do things.
Mm,
By just slowing down and taking those pauses to really see what's happening, it can really speed things up in the long run.
absolutely. There is power in the pause.
100%.
And what about that lovely little middle dog there?
Oh my goodness. He is just delicious, isn't he? So
Yeah.
with this dog, he is super friendly and really enjoys contact with people apart from his right ear. And you can see here, if you look at the set of the ears on his head, and it wasn't just in the moment of that photo, this is how he held himself, that the right ear was back and up, and the left ear was just hanging down by the side of his head. And so that kind of made it look like there probably maybe something active around that ear as to why he wasn't comfortable about being touched there as well.
Mm,
And on further investigation, he had to actually be sedated and really looked at by the vet. And he had quite a nasty inner ear infection.
yeah.
So that was changing how his ears were held. And in turn, that was changing his behavior towards contact.
Oh.
So,
Yeah, ear infections are nasty, aren't they?
and that, yeah, painful.
Mm,
And they can't necessarily say to us, this is uncomfortable for me or this hurts, but there's so many things that we can start to pick up as this really needs looking at, and then you can give them help.
yeah, absolutely. And that can be as simple as perhaps they are shaking their head maybe a bit more than often, or maybe they are scratching or something at their ears. So even just that physical action, if you like, might happen before you actually see physical changes in ear height, isn't it?
Absolutely. And just that reluctance to be touched there.
Yeah.
So again, having that baseline, how is your dog normally? What are they like to be touched or
Mm,
slowly all over their body? Because you can really start to pick up little changes.
yeah.
And looking at this dog on the right hand side, you can see how the pattern in the coat has changed, that it's gone very wavy.
Yeah.
Um, this went along with the dog being not so okay with getting in the car where he had been in the
Mm,
past. So he didn't want to get in the car, and also really not being very tolerant of other dogs.
yeah.
Whereas in the past, he'd been okay with other dogs whilst out on the walk. And actually, on further investigation with this dog going to the vet, he had changes in his hips.
Yeah.
So that would go along with maybe playing wasn't so comfortable for him in that moment, and trying to find his balance on a moving surface like the car would have been a little bit more challenging for him.
Yeah. And even just the act of jumping in and out the car as well, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. So, there's always a reason for behavior. It's communication, and they're doing the best they can in that moment.
Yeah,
I think if we can really start to look at what's happening in that moment, it gives us so much information as to how we can help them.
definitely.
So these are just another 3 photos. So this lovely dog on the left, he's a young Vizsla, and you can really see the difference in muscling,
Yeah.
the left to the right side, and how close his hocks are to each other.
Yeah.
Well, so he goes in quite close there, and also really interesting his tail, of how thick his tail is to a certain point, and then it goes off sort of really skinny. Um, and he did have cruciate ligament problems, and this had been operated on. But I think where he'd been compensating so much on the other side for a fair while, I think he's really overdeveloped on this side. And for him, that really shows up when he's trying to turn. He finds turning to the right more challenging. And when he comes round to the left, even though it's easier, he kind of falls round to the left. So he leaves this left leg sort of underneath him because he hasn't got the support there.
Yeah. Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah. So, as I say, he's not very old. So this didn't even though it was over a while, it's not years we're talking about.
Mm,
This would have been sort of months that this happened.
yeah. It's incredible how quick the changes can occur sometimes as well, isn't it? With various different abnormalities and issues within their joints.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
And there's again so many reasons as to why some dogs may be more susceptible for that. Can be their breeding, can be their start in life, nutrition, ev everything. So many things as to why some may um have more joint issues than others.
Mm,
But where he's really been compensating on the right hand side, that's what you've got to look out for as well, that he's not then going to have trouble in that knee.
yeah.
Because people sort of tend to focus on the part of the body that is actively not okay in that moment. But compensation through the body can then have its own things that happen. So it's always really important to look at the whole dog,
Yeah.
and supporting all of them, not just one particular area.
Yeah, and there's also that, that diagonal crossover with the front legs as well, isn't it? It's not just going to be the back that was compensating, but also those front legs would have, potentially been working harder as well. So it is a whole dog focus, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. And
Mm,
often we'll see that if they're tight in the hindquarters, that they'll be holding tension around the neck and the shoulders as well, like you say. So, again, you start where you can.
yeah,
Is there something you can do to actually start to improve that posture and their freedom of movement?
yeah.
So the dog in the middle, you can see this coat change that happened between the shoulder blades and then down into the back. And this was quite sudden that this happened. And he was then a little bit more reactive to things, not so comfortable about having his harness put on,
Mm,
finding it difficult to keep a balance when he was out walking, so a little bit more rushy. And so this changed within a couple of days as to how he normally was. So, it can be super quick that something happens. And yeah, if you do see something like this and you see that their movement, behavior, whatever has changed, get it checked out, because
Yeah.
it's it's better to go and get it checked out then than wait for things to get worse.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And then this lovely lab on the end, I find this interesting because this was him sitting as square as he could. And he wasn't doing anything wrong. He's organized his body the best he could organize his body. But you can see how he's taking more weight onto the right hand side than he is the left. So his right leg's actually further under him,
Mm,
left. Then we've got a coat change that happens. He's got a nice flick going on across here. And then again, more onto the right front leg as well. And the harness tends to shift itself over to the right hand side as well. Even if you move it back to the middle, it starts to go back over to the lower side.
yeah.
So yeah, just looking at how his balance is, and he was finding it again difficult to get into the car, get out of the car. He started to become a little bit more noise sensitive as well than he had been
Mm,
previously. So that could be down to arthritic changes. As far as his person knows, he hadn't had any accident or,
mm,
any obvious injury. This is just how he started to reorganize his body.
yeah.
For him, this must be comfortable because this is his go-to. And but it's just starting to look at these things, and then you can start to piece different behaviors together as well with what you're seeing in the body.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Oh, sorry.
and then we can start to look at, with all our TTouch tools, what are possible solutions that we can help them with.
Absolutely. Amazing. It's super fascinating, isn't it? I do like looking at coat patterns and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I do get like really, really excited about stuff. Yeah, like that. And there's so many things that we can look at. And you don't have to look at every inch of your dog. I mean, don't get creepy about it of just staring at them and seeing what's going on, but just look. And sometimes just to look and look away and look again can be an easy way of doing it. And as I say, having a baseline so you notice if anything changes.
Absolutely. And try not to get too paranoid.
Oh,
That
exactly.
helps too.
And it is just it's just noticing. Again, we're not making a judgment about this. We're not attaching labels and things to this of this has happened, it must mean this. We don't know.
No,
It's just that's interesting that that's like that today, and see if
absolutely.
anything else comes from that.
Mm. And we've been talking about, observing our dogs, but it's also important to observe our own actions, our body language that around our dogs, how we are with our dogs. Tell me about the 75-25% split that we use in T-Touch.
Sure. So the idea of 75-25%, this comes from an Alexander technique practitioner. And what he noticed in his sessions was that if you pay 75% of the session to what you're doing, so to your breathing, to your posture, to the pauses, how you're responding to something, and only 25% to, let's say, the dog, then you actually had a better outcome. Because the more we can be responsible for our actions and our breathing, our balance, and how we're responding to what's going on, and having those pauses, allowing for feedback, you can actually get a much better conversation going between the two of you. Because sometimes, we're just so laser focused on what the dog is doing that we're not paying any attention to the fact that, oh, actually, we might be leaning over them a bit, or we could be staring at them and actually haven't taken a breath for quite some time now, and going really, really quickly with what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So we only have the chance to change what we're doing in that moment. Oh,
Oh,
I've got
you got
fireworks.
fireworks.
Oh my goodness me. Yeah,
That's all
I'm gonna
right.
keep my hands like this now so I don't have any more funky things going. Oh dear. So yeah, we only have the possibility to change our response to something.
Yeah.
And it is the possibility because sometimes we can't even do that.
No. And it can be something as simple as just, moving to the side of our dogs, can't it? Do you
Exactly.
know, thinking about walking on a lead, do you know, if maybe they've got stuck and we're stood in front of them going, come on, let's go, do you know, and they're going, oh no. What if we step back to be with them? Do you know? And we've opened up the world in front of them because we're no longer stood in their way. Even just small things like that, it's very much how can I change what I'm doing to support my dog better rather than concentrating on how can I change their behavior,
Oh,
isn't
100%.
it?
Yeah. And we really have to take responsibilities for our actions. And when we're observing something in our dog, whether it's that they don't particularly want to come with us or they might not want to be touched in a certain area, what can we do differently in that moment? And that's huge. And even if it's just we're going to pause, that may be the thing we need to do in that moment. Exhaling,
Yeah.
actually coming back into our bodies, and also not attaching to the outcome all the time. If something's not working, we need to change it. We don't have to do what we may have set out to do. Let's just change it and do something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when we observe ourselves more, our dogs feel more heard and listened to, don't they? Because we're paying more attention to what we're doing. So
Absolutely. And yeah, as you've probably heard me say before, if you want them to trust you and have that relationship, we need to be trustworthy.
oh yeah,
And I think that that's really important of owning our actions so that we can make it the easiest it can be for
sorry.
our dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, being trustworthy, I think that's a great place to stop in our observations because it is that, isn't it? It's building that foundation of trust within the relationship with your dog, just like we would with people, with our friends and family, isn't it? So important, such an important part of our relationship.
Oh, absolutely. Creating a feeling of safety is huge.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Tina. It's very insightful. I do love chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, always love chatting with you, Catherine.
I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.